Quick disclaimer, you might notice that my eye in this video looks a bit sore. If you're wondering why that is, the boys will explain.
Unpleasant.
You know, when I started this channel 3 years ago, I planned to review both movies and video games. In fact, the idea to review games came first. And yet, when you're trying to upload videos on a regular basis, that's when you realize video games are fucking long. How game critics on YouTube do this full time is beyond me, and honestly, fair play to them. But I still try to review games every once in a while when the opportunity comes up. And, well, I've got a video on Shark Tale that I made recently that did pretty well, and there was a Shark Tale game that I played when I was a kid. Sure, this'll do. It's possible you've heard talk of a Shark Tale game for GameCube, PS2, and Xbox that other YouTubers have played, usually to less than pleasured results.
You'd find this a lot easier if you used your dash.
Well, I'd find you a lot easier on my ears if I kicked your ass!
But that's not the version I grew up with. What I'm looking at is the PC version, which is a completely different game that I never hear anyone bring up. Despite what you might assume, I actually really liked this game when I was a kid, to the point where I was really excited to play it again for the first time in almost 20 years. Not with this copy, though.
Ow, what the?
Pardon the delay, but I've got to talk about how much of a fucking nightmare this was to run on my laptop. I bought a used, but very much legitimate and in good condition copy of this game from eBay. It was very cheap too, because who the fuck else is going to be buying this in 2025? I installed the game on my laptop, clicked the play icon, and an error message popped up. Or rather, several. I did kind of anticipate this. It is an older game, it's obviously not built with Windows 11 in mind. I went looking online for some potential fixes, not realizing that over the course of the next week, while working on another video mind you, that I would be spending several hours a day, every day, looking for solutions and running into even more problems. I installed old versions of Windows, multiple apps to run said versions of Windows. I browsed dozens of videos, forums, and articles online troubleshooting said apps to run said versions of Windows. I even went looking for any scarce resources on this not very popular game to see if anyone knew what the hell was going on, and all I found was a review by a YouTuber named Crystal Omega who said this.
Thankfully, I managed to get this game working just fine on my laptop. No problems at all.
Oh great, I'm so happy for you. So eventually I just decided, fuck it, and acquired another copy of the game through, let's call them Johnny Depp-esque methods, and for whatever reason, that seemed to do the trick.
Underworld, innit?
I breathed a sigh of relief, sat down, and finally played through the game from start to finish. When I was done, I looked back at the recording, hoping that my luck had turned, and the footage looked like this. I should be upset, but at this point, I'll take what I can get. If you're bothered that the footage looks a little pixelated, I get it, but please try to appreciate the lengths I did go to. But now that I've gone through all of that, was it finally worth it to play this game again after all this time? Probably not, but I still enjoyed it. Shark Tale on PC is a 3D action-adventure game where, as Oscar, you explore Reef City, taking on challenges to earn fame. If you ever wanted to play Grand Theft Auto as a fish, well, there's probably a mod out there somewhere, but in 2004, this was the best we had. If you're a fan of the movie, as I, and to my delight a lot of you seem to be as well, as movie tie-in games go, this actually gets a fair amount right. The game retains a lot of the personality from the film, and a good amount of the jokes actually managed to get a laugh out of me.
Oh man, elevator! Fish hate elevators, and I'll show you why. My head!
Oscar, as you might predict, isn't voiced by Will Smith this time around. Same goes for the rest of the celebrity cast from the movie. Here, he's voiced by the fairly prolific voice actor Phil Lamar, who can do a pretty solid impersonation, and his line deliveries are generally quite funny.
And if you see that jerk trying to bite on me, move me as fast as you can. And pay attention. I am not gonna be lunch just because you saw something shiny across the room.
Hell, in one or two ways, the game actually builds on the material from the movie. It takes Katie Current, who is a minor character in the film, and gives her a more prominent role, with her news reports acting as the game's tutorials.
Update coming in. Yes, it looks like you opened a door. A slow news day, apparently.
The game takes the slightly arrogant side of Katie Current from the movie and amps it up to 11, with her providing her own commentary and opinions on the game mechanics she's quote-unquote reporting on. I can appreciate any game that at least makes an effort to make the tutorials entertaining, and the cynical comments she makes gives it a bit of edge.
You can also pick up urchins like this one and throw them at other fish. Just press the space bar. Have Ernie check with legal and make sure we can say that. Oh, and just a touch more paprika on this sometime today.
Then there's the actual gameplay, which is reasonably solid. The game does an honestly fantastic job recreating locations from the movie, and getting to explore them with how accurate they can be is cool. They even included the terrible puns like Fish King, you gotta have that. There's a lot of variety in the missions, ranging from chase sequences, stealth, racing, and rhythm games being the main ones, with a hub world where you can explore and find secrets. That could make the game feel very disjointed, but it does a good job of keeping the basic mechanics consistent enough with the overworld, encouraging you to roam free while the missions force you to take what you've learned and be a bit more deliberate with your movement and such. The only exception being the rhythm minigames, but they're infrequent enough that they're more of a quick and refreshing change of pace. As for how enjoyable these missions are, it varies. The rhythm minigame is decent enough. It's really just a quick time event and nothing more, but it at least requires a fair amount of concentration to do properly.
Go Oscar! Go Oscar! Go Oscar!
The chase sequences where Oscar swims away from an oncoming shark are honestly a little lame. They're not horrible, they're just very underdeveloped. All you're really doing in these stages is just casually following arrows for 3 minutes, which, yes, I know I just praised the last mission type for, but at least that required some sense of precision. Here, you're just absent-mindedly following directions, and you're given plenty of time to move the cursor vaguely in the direction the game tells you without any strategy or thinking on the player's part. I played this game a ton as a kid, and I don't think I ever lost these missions a single time. The only exceptions I can think of being when I just deliberately let Oscar die out of sheer curiosity to see what would happen. That's how easy they are. You'd think that in a game called Shark Tale, the missions that actually involve sharks would be a bit more in-depth than this. The races are alright. Again, they at least require a bit of concentration to do well in, but they're also a little on the easy side. If you're any good at the races at all, you'll pick up a steady lead fairly early on and never see your competition again. Then there are the stealth sections, which are definitely the strongest of the mission types since they make the most direct use of the mechanics present in the overworld. It's fairly basic stuff, moving around, memorizing search patterns, avoiding lines of sight, and not a ton of strategy beyond that, but it gets the job done. It at least requires you to pay attention and time your movements carefully. Level design, though, is where the stealth sections kind of drop the ball a little bit. The first one's perfectly fine, being set in this cramped and claustrophobic warehouse where hiding is kind of tricky, and you have to make the most out of what limited space you have. The later stealth sections are a little too open by comparison, giving you way too much room to just orbit around any enemies you come across and easily escape their line of sight if you're spotted. These sections try to incentivize taking risks by putting collectibles in spots where you're more likely to get noticed, but the only things you're really going to find are money and health, neither of which are particularly worthwhile, and to explain why, we gotta talk about the overworlds. The appeal of the overworlds, like I said, is largely based around exploration, which, if you like the movie, is very fun to do, and you'll get some decent cutscenes and dialogue for looking around.
Well, I got nothing against freshwater fish, they just all look alike to me.
I'm sorry, what? From a gameplay perspective, you're again not getting much out of it beyond money and health. The main things you'll be spending money on are just accessories for Oscar's homes throughout the game. It's an honestly pretty pathetic excuse for a reward. There's barely any actual gameplay to be found in these places, the accessories don't have any interactivity beyond plain sound effects, and you can even see them in the apartments before you buy them.
Cheap furniture is the best furniture. Well, unless you count everything else.
You're literally just paying the developers to turn up the opacity meter. And as for health pickups, again, I don't know why they bothered. There are no enemies to fight throughout most of the game, and any hazards are few and far between, not to mention easy to avoid and not even all that dangerous. The stealth sections are the only places where any enemies are present, and they're always a one-hit kill. Health is kind of a moot point in that situation. And as much as I've praised the presentation of the game, one thing I can't say is that it's a particularly good adaptation of the story. Like, here's what the movie would look like if it went through the plot points in the same level of detail as the game does.
Use some rope to get your tail out, fish for you. Hit him in the tail again. No! Oscar, the shark slayer.
You need to slay a shark, and I need to disappear.
Curse you, shark slayer!
They got Angie.
I'm gonna get you!
What are you doing in there?
Sorry.
Thank you for coming to Whale Wash. I lied.
The plot from the film is so stripped back, with every character that's not Oscar being relegated to brief cameos or outright omitted altogether.
Are you dumping me? Are you dumping?
Lenny never displays any of the chemistry he had with Oscar in the movie, and as far as we can see, their relationship seems to be purely transactional. That was kind of the case in the movie as well, but at least there I could buy that these two are friends. Don Lino doesn't even appear until the end of the game, meaning that the main threat for both Oscar and Lenny in the story is almost completely absent.
You're no shark slayer. You're sushi.
By the way, you used that joke already.
Oh, you're still paying me back. In sushi.
Angie is adapted partially well, with her straight man attitude towards Oscar being captured reasonably well.
You see any other way out?
Well, there's a dumb waiter in here.
Then get him to open the door.
I wish you were joking.
The problem is that's basically all they captured. Movie Angie made it clear that as much as she criticized Oscar, it was because she wanted the best for him and genuinely cared about him. In the game, it barely seems like she even likes him, let alone loves him.
Oscar, you are the most self-centered... Why am I even talking? And thanks again for yet another magical evening.
Oh, and here's the best part. You know how in the movie she finds out about halfway through that Oscar lied about being the Shark Slayer, and she feels betrayed and disappointed in him, leading to this genuinely pretty good line.
Because I'm tired of hearing how everything you had in your life wasn't good enough. Including me.
And you know how that's the catalyst for Oscar's redemption arc, and how that's the entire point of the fucking movie? In the game, she doesn't find out until Oscar admits it at the end.
I'm not really a shark slayer. I lied.
I had a feeling.
You did?
Well, duh.
Which kind of creates a second problem from the opposite way around. Oscar has no reason to admit that he lied at the end. He doesn't learn any lesson throughout the game. He just goes along with the lie until the very end, where he's just like, all right, I've had enough. The game doesn't even treat him admitting it with any kind of significance. It's not like in the movie where the crowd goes silent as he shouts it at the top of his gills.
I am not a real shark slayer!
Here, he just casually says it, and the other two characters present barely even bat an eye. In fact, how did anyone think he was telling the truth in this version? In the movie, Frankie gets hit by the anchor and dies, Lenny throws it away, and Ernie and Bernie show up to see the aftermath, where Oscar is blindly attacking in a panic. Not only did he have witnesses that saw just enough for it to be believable, but the evidence of what actually killed Frankie was gone. Here though, the anchor kills Frankie and then stays where it is, and Oscar just declares himself the Shark Slayer to nobody in particular.
Give it up for the shark slayer! Woo!
I don't know, maybe the reason this all feels rushed is because the game itself was rushed. I can't find any evidence for that, mainly because no information seems to be documented on this game, but it's a movie tie-in game. It's not exactly an unreasonable assumption. I know, right? A movie tie-in game that isn't Spider-Man 2 isn't as good as the original. What is this world coming to? In all fairness, as much as I will point out the flaws in this game on its own and as an adaptation of the movie, ultimately, I'm not going in expecting some great masterpiece. With games like this, if you find anything even resembling quality, you need to take that and treasure it. And with that in mind, yeah, this game is okay. If you're one of those weirdos like me that actually likes this movie, I'd say track down a copy of this game, pray to God the install process is nice to you, and you'll get a fun, non-demanding game that's worth a few hours of your time, which is a hell of a lot better than it could have been. Special thanks to my Patreon supporters Heather Reed, Zelda, Moon Goddesses, The Hen Rolled, Seth M, Chris Spicer, Jacob K, Wasp Sen, Andrew Taylor, and Deceiver of Gods. Thank you so much for the support. If you'd like to see your name in the credits, along with early access to scripts and videos, as well as exclusive unused video thumbnails, or if you'd just like to chat with me, consider supporting me on Patreon for just $1.50 a month. The link is in the description.